Okay, maybe Beth's not ready.
Go ahead.
Congratulations on
I'm
passing.
ready.
Awesome. Okay, so uh, this is a presentation that Z and I had a chance to talk to each other about 2 weeks ago, and for somebody that is new to the business, or you want to present this information to, these are the 5 points that we try to make, right? So we tell people, when we share this information with you, we want to help you get out of debt. Is that something that is important to you? Is getting out of debt important to you? And they say, yeah, of course. Or, I'm not in debt, but I know people who are. And you say, is it important for you to be able to help others get out of debt? And if they say yes, then you say, you know what, we have a campaign, and we provide workshops live and online, and we do these workshops for free, because we know that financial literacy is something that is not taught anywhere in the United States, or at least not taught for free. And this is our campaign, and our goal is to educate 1 million families this year, 2020. So you can start off your presentation that way, right? Then you say, well, we also want to educate you about life insurance. Has anyone ever taught you about life insurance, or how to buy life insurance? What do you know about life insurance? Did your parents teach you anything about it? Did school teach you about it? You Google teach you about it? Is protecting your family in case of your untimely death, is that important to you? If you lost your spouse and you lost your spouse's income, is that important to you? Is it important for you to know whether your plans are permanent or temporary? Is it with you while you're working and no longer there when you stop working? If these things are important to you, I want to teach you how to purchase life insurance. And then before they start asking questions, you can just go to, what about long term care? People are living longer, not necessarily uh, healthier, but they're living longer. And unfortunately, when they live longer because of advancing medical innovations, they need money but are unable to provide for themselves because they have some sort of um, chronic or prolonged illnesses. Is it important to you to make sure that you are okay in the event this happens, if you get sick or get a disability? The incidence of stroke and cancer, heart attack in this country is staggering. Seems like every 6 to 10 seconds, there's a major event that happens to somebody in this country. Is it important to have this when you reach the age where you are most vulnerable? Because long-term care is not something you buy once you need it. You need to get it before you are in a place where long-term care is something that you require. In short, you need it before you need to get it before you need it. Is that important to you? And before they answer, you say, well, let me touch base on retirement. Let's just say that you live a long life and you're healthy. Is retirement planning, having money at retirement, is that important to you? Are you on track? Have you even looked at where you are and where you want to go? Because if it is important to you, have you considered some of these things, where you put your money? Do you put your money where it is at risk of the market going up and down? Is it at risk of taxes going up? Um, is it growing to outpace inflation? One of the funny things that I read about a few days ago, it says that you are as far away to 2050 as 1990 was. Think about that for a second. You are as far away to 2050, 50, as 1990 was. Now, for those of you that were born before 1990, just think about how crazy that is and what you were doing in 1990. So, where will you be in 2050? Lastly, if you have children who are in college, is this important to you? Is it important to you that your kids graduate from college without debt? Or is it okay for you to have them finish with ballooning college loans? And it's crazy that we provide our kids with birthday parties and trips to Disney World and Christmas gifts and birthday gifts and laptops and iPads and all the gaming toys. But when it comes to college, we are unprepared. Have you started to set funds aside for your kids' college? Because if not, when will you start? How much will you set aside and where will you put it? If you really want your kids to graduate debt free, then maybe it's time we figure out where to put the money and and figure out the best place where you can make it work for you. Now, it's unfair to touch base on all these five topics and explain everything to you all at once because this is something that we have to sit down and discuss. But let's pick one of these topics. Is it debt management, life insurance, long term care, retirement, college? Which one is most important to you? And let's address that. And that is something that you can talk to people about when you do a home BPM. And if they want to, and if there's time to kind of kill, then play a video about what we do, uh, play a video about the financial literacy campaign, talk to people or show them the Facebook community, right? Show them the blue book and read a couple of paragraphs in the blue book that pertains to these five topics that we talked about, and then show them the workbook, and then sit down and say which one of these is most important to you, and let's address it. Oh, I want to save $300 a month for my kids' college. Okay, let's look at the places where you can put it, right? And then you can show them maybe an IUL illustration and say, this is a plan that is multi purpose. It is life insurance, long term care, but you can fund it for college. And if none of those come, then you can use the money tax free for retirement. That's a simple enough conversation to have. And then people say, well, I really don't care about retirement. Well, you should, because there's a retirement crisis in the United States. This is an article from Marketplace on February 6, 2017. There's a long term care financing crisis. People are living longer without any money. This is an article from the Heritage Foundation, February 6, 2013. Um, what about having a will? Americans don't have a will. Maybe you should join our campaign because if you're licensed, congratulations to all those licensed people. You can now access the will through Legacy Shield and Power of Attorney and Advanced Directives and HIPAA for free. But ask people, when was the last time you updated your will? Do you even have one? If they don't, then that's something that you can address. The current student loan debt in the United States is ballooning so that it even is greater than credit cards and auto loans combined. Now, if it's important for you to send your kids to college without debt, let's plan on it. Most people putting away money in their retirement plans in a 401k, which is their employer sponsored plans. They're in love with it because of the match. They don't understand it. Give them this article from Entrepreneur Magazine that uh, gives them a little information and added knowledge about what they actually own. Because if you told me that my 401k is the riskiest investment I have, my next question to you will be why and what's my alternative? And if you say why, then you can show them the reasons presented here. And if they say, what's the alternative? Then you say, I'm glad you asked, right? Because we want to share with you a solution that offers multi purpose um, functions, multi purpose features that take care of your family in the event of premature death, illness, and disability. And if that doesn't happen, tax free retirement access without market risk, right? And you talk to them about how people are not planning enough and that they succumb to some sort of medical condition and they have to go file for bankruptcy. And there's so many people in the United States that have to go through this, right? I don't know if those exact numbers are, or those numbers are exact because this has been a while back now, right? But this is what we're doing. We're about financial literacy. That is the drive of our campaign. Our blue book is meant to teach you Finance 101 so it will save your future. It is taking the ideas of Wall Street to Main Street, creating positive change. We are in a new decade. We are in a new year. Isn't it time that we made this a priority? And people will say, I think absolutely, you're right. And you say it's a problem that has existed, but nobody is addressing it. Financial literacy is a big problem no one is talking about. This is an article from the Huffington Post. I'm sure some of you have seen me show this over and over. It says here the number one problem in today's generation and economy is lack of financial literacy, and that is by Alan Greenspan, the former Federal Reserve chairman, right? And here's the other thing, people don't talk about life insurance because either they have some sort of preconceived idea, which is usually wrong, but people need to be aware that there's a 15 trillion life insurance crisis in the United States because ownership of it is at an all-time low. And the agents that are able to share it, like us, we are at an all-time low also. That's why we're actively recruiting campaigners and training them so they can go out there and tell people GoFundMe is not the solution. If something happens to you, you need to have a plan, just like Karen's client who got an Everest plan, right? We need to tell them that there are advantages to these plans, just the same way as a rotary phone is no longer the same as your iPhone 11. We understand that vast numbers of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. This is August 24, 2017, right? From CBS News. And that's the reason why we want to give them an alternative source of, of income by recruiting them into our business and training them so they can go impact their community, go out there and talk to people and see that there is money to be made in the finance industry. Half of Americans are spending their entire paycheck or more from June 27, 2017, CNN Money. If you are spending more than what you earn, then you definitely need to make more. Now, what are your only options? You can either go find another part time job, go back to school and upgrade your skills. And unfortunately, you're not sure if you're going to land a job that pays you more, right? Or start a business. Well, if you start a business, all businesses in the United States require capital, license, and you need to provide some sort of service. Well, what is your capital ability to get a business started? Our business doesn't require much. You just need a background check. You need to get the licenses that you want to focus on, life, health, annuities. You can focus on long term care. You can focus on securities if you want to. But you definitely can make an impact on other people's lives by doing our business without digging yourself into a bigger hole and getting yourself further into debt, right? And I don't know about you. This to me is a very simple explanation of how we take care of people's finances. I tell them your money is riding on a vehicle, and you can either have it go up and down like that blue roller coaster, or you can have it go just up, just kind of like that orange escalator. If your money was riding on either of those vehicles, which would you choose? You can go have a heart attack in a roller coaster, fine. But if you want that steady escalator type growth vehicle, then that we can talk to you about that. What do you think people are going to choose? Right? In the likely event that they say, you know what, I don't mind having that roller coaster type vehicle, then we can help them too. Just talk to somebody in our business that has securities license, right? Talk to them about the IUL. Once they realize that I have three, four, $500, $100 to put away, you tell them, well, you can put these money in a place where it can protect you. You can use it as an emergency. You can use it for retirement. You can fund it for college. You can use it just for savings. It's called an index universal life policy, and it provides you the safety of the bank, the growth of an investment, and the insurance benefits along with the tax-free um, internal revenue code 77702 that allows money to grow inside a life insurance tax-free, and you can access it tax-free in the future. It's the only plan out there that offers you liquidity, unlimited contributions, depending on the face amount that you choose, tax-free growth, tax-free distributions, tax-free transfer to your heirs in the event that you pass away. You're not mandated to make withdrawals because of your age, and usually it's sheltered from lawsuits, right? So if you know somebody who just sold their business and they have a lot of money, and you tell them, what if somebody sues you? Have you ever thought about protecting your money? And this is definitely something that they can do, right? So go back to free financial literacy workshop. If debt management is important to you, then these are the topics that we do every week, week in, week out. We do it in our financial centers and we do it online. You just give them the information and then tell them, which topics is being discussed this particular Sunday. We usually make announcements, and then definitely get them involved in our financial literacy campaign. Because what are they going to say? Oh, increasing cash flow. I don't believe in that. Managing debt. I don't really care about that. Having a financial foundation and protecting my family. It's not for me. Building wealth and asset accumulation. Oh, I'd rather be broke. Of course not. Retirement strategies, wealth preservations, all these require a plan. And that's why it's very exciting that we have these workshops that we do repeatedly over and over, keeping it simple for the basic information, basic knowledge that every American needs, right? And you can use this and say, hey, everybody wants to be a millionaire, right? You know that time is on your side. At 25 years old, you want to be a millionaire by the time you're 65, you need to save about $310 a month. At 35, you need to save about 400 to 450. At 45, you need to save 1250. At 55, you need to save 4200. Oh, and you better have 45,000, 63,000, or 117,000 depending on what age you start. See, this is the thing I like about this. The math does not lie. And that even requires you to be able to grow your money at an 8% annual return. Where can you get 8%? Then you can show them what the IUL's performance has been. So this is the thing that's most important that people don't realize. Success requires your time, it requires your talent, it requires your treasure, and it requires your story or your testimony. Sometimes we forget that God has a purpose for us, but it is important to make sure that God's purpose for us intersects with your responsibility and your participation. So you allow God's promise to happen in your life. Because, you say, oh, yeah, I prayed to God that I would lose weight. Well, you know what? You're not going to lose weight if you don't lift weights, right? Oh, I prayed to God to make $1 million this year, but you don't make that contact and you don't set up an appointment. You need to allow God's dominions in your desires, but you need to participate. You cannot be fruitful if you do not allow God's faithfulness to work in you. That's what I think has the most value. And you need to have your time, talent, your treasure, and your testimony, all right, to be consistent. It cannot just be for 6 weeks or 6 months. We've been here for 13 years and we believe this to be true. Okay. And I don't know about you, but there's no other place I'd rather spend my time, talent, treasure, and my testimony, and rather in this business that I know impact people's lives. So that is the end of my presentation. If you are recording that, I hope that helps. And you can, I guess, put that on TeamVision and you can see if there's anything there